I saw wasn't human.
Oh my God!
It was very tall. What's more, it saw me. This thing.
Rawhead Rex.
This podcast is not safe for work and will feature movie spoilers. It will feature scenes described of a graphic nature. It will contain language which most listeners may find offensive. Welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. And welcome back to another instalment of Rawhead Rex and Pieces, a sub-series of the podcast Under the Stairs, where we take the beloved feature film Rawhead Rex from 1986. We chop it up into little 5-minute reviewable segments, which myself and a podcaster from around the globe will discuss for a lot longer than 5 minutes, because we're podcasters and we want to talk. But if all that wasn't enough, we've just put a little bit of spice on the top, a little bit of that podcast Under the Stairs fuckery spice, where we are mixing up the order of the release. So nothing is linear here. This episode, which is covering minutes 60 through 65, might be the very first one that you hear, might be the last one you hear, might be somewhere in between. We're doing 60 through 65, so this is opening with Rawhead Rex rocking a caravan full of people, and we'll close out with Rawhead Rex appearing at the window of a policeman's car, ripping off the car door and pulling him out as the poor detective screams, "No, no, no!" Joining me on this episode is long-time friend of the pod and just all-round awesome gal is, of course, Lacy Lou. How you doing?
Hey, Duncan. What's crack-a-lackin'? Again.
Again, we didn't just record one of these before, but at least you get Rawhead Rex in this one more than once.
Rawhead Rex, yes. Like, I feel like I'm gonna spoil it right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got the best segment of the fucking movie.
Well, you did get
so
boobs.
Much I got boobs. Yes. How'd you know I was gonna say that?
Yeah, you got boobs, and this is weirdly the
How
only.
did you know I was?
Oh, well,
How did you?
I don't know, Lacey. I don't know how I knew. All I knew is when I watched this particular 5 minutes tonight, I had forgotten there was boobs in this movie.
Yes, and a trailer park.
Yes.
Like, a trailer park with a campground. I don't know.
Well, they refer to it as a caravan site, which is basically the UK's equivalent of a trailer park. But it tends to be where people go to like holiday, like for short holidays you go to a caravan park and you stay in a caravan and go walking up hills and do all that stuff, but there are occasional people that live in caravan parks, and if you've seen the movie Snatch you'll understand this, and yeah, this is the caravan park where like they all just live communally and wait to be shredded by a giant pagan penis monster. So.
Well, see, I thought they were camping because the dude's like telling like spooky stories. So like I was like, oh, it's a ghost story. They're camping. I don't know.
No, they actually live there. These are villagers that are living there, off the grid. survivalists, if you will, Lacy. Yeah, so you
Not.
get you get boobs in this. You get Rawhead Rex doing a lot of
Boobs.
which I kind of love.
He's-
Rawhead Rex doing his roar.
Does he not sound like Ludo from Labyrinth?
Oh, 100. I would not. I'm sure if we deep dive enough, that it's either sampled or. I swear to God, it's the same noise.
It's like
would not.
Ludo bird.
No, literally like. I mean, there's so many things wrong with the creature design for Rawhead Rex. The first one being that they never straighten his eyes. Like, his eyes are cockeyed all the way through this movie, which is beyond distracting. And, like, obviously the weird get-up, which doesn't make sense. I also don't think pagan deities look like this either, even in Ireland. Although I am fully aware. I remember, this is the only time I'm going to say this in the entire series, so I might as well do it just now. There must be a legend of something called Rawhead. Maybe not Rex, but Rawhead, because I remember my grandfather, when I was a little kid, used to tell me ghost stories of two creatures that lived in the woods called Rawhead and Bloody Bones. And because, like, I live in a country where it's perfectly fine to terrorise your grandchildren by telling them stories about what will happen if you go wander in the woods alone. And so, like, I can't imagine that, one, he'd read the Clive Barker story, because although it would have been out around this time, and, like, there's no way he would have read that. He wasn't really into horror books. And two, the fact that they set it in Ireland makes me think that there must be some sort of like folklore tale of some description out there. It's just this movie went this way with it, like, which is maybe not the way they were expecting. And on top of that as well, just to hammer these points home, and I know there's always that dialogue about why does the monster look so goofy? Why didn't he just do what Clive Barker wrote in his book? If you've actually read the short novel, because it's Clive Barker, Rawhead Rex is actually a giant walking dick with teeth in the slit at the top. So basically the urethra is full of teeth. And that's that. Like, I don't think they get away with making a movie like that in 1986. You know what I mean? I think they might frown on that. So there we are. As an aside, just giving you a little bit of shitty info at the start, Lacy Lou.
I like all the tidbits, Duncan.
Thank you. You humour me, and I appreciate it. Let's swing into this one. So we open with Rawhead Rex, like, shaking the shit out of this caravan. He's like shaking this like the same way I like my mojito shaking. You know what I mean? I'm like that. Shake that bad boy up, like, crush everything.
It was like he was humping it.
Well, when the caravans are rocking, you know what they say, don't come a knocking. So.
Oh, but he did.
Yeah, okay, just a little bit. He fucking tips this thing over, and I love this. There's other people that come out to find out what this sound is, and Rawhead Rex is like acting like he's just like scored a touchdown. His arms up there, and he's like, "Roar!"
Celebrating.
Like, what the fuck is going on here?
It was like he got the jollies off, Duncan.
Yeah, he was like, he was like, can I tip this caravan? I'm going to try it. I did it. I believed in myself. You're the best around. No one's ever going to keep you down. There you go. You got it. So he's all happy with himself. The people that have walked out their caravan and seen this are instantly terrified, and rightly so. But there's people inside, and you have the old man who was telling the story, kicks the door open, pops his head out, and comes face to face with Rex, and instantly regrets that. Tries to pull himself back in, but he gets pulled out, and Rawhead just bites at him. Just a couple of big old bites to the face, leaves his dead carcass on the ground, and then he basically.
Like, what a weird way to go out the window, Duncan. Or like, what a weird, like, wouldn't you go like head first, like the opposite way and not on your back?
I mean, this old guy had a few drinks, so I'm not entirely sure he knew which way up was. Like, I think he thought he was looking down. Yeah, this guy's a moron and he deserved to die a horrible death.
He did. Yeah, and we got one.
He did. He got bitten. So he's dead. People try and come at Rex now, and Rex just starts like throwing people around as if they're like small dolls. Just like anyone that gets in his way gets fired about the place. But then, arguably the best bit of these 5 minutes here happens when he smashes through the window and grabs the young woman who was in the caravan, who was considerably younger than everyone else, and I kind of know why in this scene, because when she's getting pulled out, her top comes off, exposing her, let's be honest, fantastic breasts. Like,
boobs.
Made for this movie, man. Honestly, this movie went from a 4.5 to a 5. But he like he pulls her out, then lifts her as if he's going to choke slam her. So lifts her up above his head. And you know what's great about this camera placement is, you know what's perfectly in the frame?
Her boobs.
Boobs, yeah. So like, I'm just going to say, well done to the DP on this one. Well done, you have earned your paycheck. He throws her into a tree, just like throws her away because he's had enough of this one. And then a villager comes out with a rifle. And you've got to think they've all been drinking. Everyone in this park's been drinking because this guy's aim is fucking shocking. He misses Rex the first time and then shoots again. Hits a gas canister, which then just sets some caravans ablaze. There's explosions everywhere. And then Rex, for some reason, decides to do the goofiest Steven Seagal run right towards him. And then kind of puts him on the ground. And then kind of starts, he's supposed to be strangling him, but it's more just kind of like how you would try and wake up a partner who was having a bad dream. He's like, and the guy's like, Liz. And then blood starts coming out his mouth. And it's so funny. Because like, this is Rawhead Rex. He apparently has the like big teeth and sharp nails and all the rest. But no, we're going to gently rock this guy to death. Which is kind of ludicrous. We jump from this carnage to the police station, back with our great police officers here who are fucking useless in this movie. That's maybe what this movie and our previous season PCs have in common, is the cops just really don't want to do their job. In fact, they want anyone else to do their job for them, and they're like this. You hear him on the phone. He's like, "What? To the caravan park? Oh, we need to go to the caravan park." And then Duke comes out, big Helen back. He's like, "See, I told you, it's territorial." And he's getting it, like, I love everyone's getting their jackets on, their hats, putting their guns in their holsters and all the rest. What does Hallenbeck do? Puts on that cardigan. Because that's what he's packing. Fucking, I'm put on this Cosby sweater. So he's putting on his cardigan, and the detective goes, "Where do you think you're going?" And he says, "Going with you." He says, "Oh, no, you're not." And then you get this line, he says, "Well, you can't stop me." And the detective literally looks at the cop behind him and says, "Conroy, hold him." And apparently the detective can stop him, because that's the end of that conversation. Oh man, this is like every time we go to the police station, it's just like, why am I not looking at Rawhead Rex? And then we do arrive back, and now because of budgetary constraints, there's a lot of people dead that we didn't see die. And Rawhead's like, he has just got all of his system. He is walking out like he boss, holding a decapitated head. You know what I mean? He's like, my work here is done. And we get this great shot of like the severed head and him walking out. And the police are arriving whilst this is happening, and no one sees a 9-foot cockeyed Gwar lookalike holding a head. Not great cops, Lacy. Not great cops. This is where the Americans have it right. You know what I mean? Like, your cops would be in there, guns would be out already, people would be on the ground.
I don't know. Like, I mean, the Americans in this movie were pretty fucking stupid.
I don't know what you mean. Like, David Duke, when he went in to describe Rawhead, did it succinctly, didn't sound like a crazy man, and,
But yet he went back to let his daughter piss in the bush.
He did let his daughter go back and piss in the bush. You are right. Yeah, he's a terrible man. Also, within the first 5 minutes of this movie, he saw a stained glass window that had clearly Rawhead Rex in it, then saw him about 20 minutes later on top of a hill and didn't put two and two together, which to me, and this guy's writing a book, And that's the worry. He's writing an educational book. This guy's an educator, right?
Right.
Everything's wrong. Everything's wrong. We go back anyway. Rawhead Rex is on his way out. The detective says, "God alive!" And then some rando woman walks up to him and says, "Oh, it went towards the village." So the second detective's like, "We need to get some ambulances down here." And the main detective jumps in the car and they drive off, right? And then we cut back to the police station, and just like strewn about the table is just a mass of Polaroids of fucking stained glass windows in the inside of a church. Now remember, his son has just been murdered in front of him, eaten alive in front of him. His wife has for the last hour and a half been violently rocking their daughter to sleep. And no one shed a tear. There are no tears from these parents, which is very weird. And he's like, "You want to go back to the hotel?" And the wife doesn't respond. And he says, "Do you want to go back to that hotel?" And she says, "No." He says, "You'd be more comfortable there. You'd be more comfortable there thinking about our dead son yourself." And she's like, "Only if you come." And he's like, "No, I've got to talk to the detective." She says, "Let him do his job." And he's like, "Listen, I want him to make some house-to-house inquiries. They know something, these people." She's like, what are you talking about?" And then we get info dump. So here's your first sign that the game is really afoot. He says, "He's been here before this thing. In Rathmore. These people. Look at the stained glass window in the church. You see, he's been done in." This is words he's using. "He's been done in by whatever this hooded figure's holding. It looks like a tablet, but it's a missing piece of glass. That's the missing piece. I think there's another missing piece. It's like a handle, or a knife, or a sword, or something, but it's a weapon." There's a lot of it's like a handle, or a knife, or a sword, or something. Like we'll just pick it in like a door, an elephant, a T-Rex. Like what are we doing here? Like, he's like, "But it's a weapon." And she's like, a weapon? And he's like, "Yeah, if I could find it, I could do that goddamn thing and do it in." It's just a weird phrase. This scene, like, it is bad. It's a bad scene. Because they're trying, obviously in the novel, like, Clive Barker, like, is very, very good at writing. And in this film, this director's not very good at making a film. So it's there's a huge bit of exposition here that I kinda, it does pay off in the movie, but it pays off in the silliest way. Like, you could get through all this without the missing bit of glass, or the glass has been put in another, like, see when that reveal comes later on of the missing bit of glass that's been put in the wrong one, which is clearly in the wrong one. It's just a floating fucking hand, like, down beside a face in another stained glass window. Someone's like, "Oh yeah, this one goes here." Someone that's clearly not good at jigsaws. Why do you think the parents here are numb to their child's death? Like, not even numb as in, like, in shock, just as in no one is acting like a human being here.
Maybe it's the town. I mean, where Rawhead Rex is able to exist, maybe, like, people aren't able to emote properly.
Maybe.
Like, I mean, like, people are dying, but everybody wants to just keep going back. Like, you know.
No one like, there's been so much death in this already, and no one is really acting like
anything is like, it's like the mayor in Jaws.
Yes, yeah. I love that you brought back to Jaws. Respect.
Yeah. I was gonna bring back to Jaws too, because we did get fire here. Nobody intentionally set themselves on fire, but we did get an explosion, and it was amazing. And people were running around on fire.
On fire, yep.
Literally, like, Dan equated it the best as we're watching this scene, right? He compared it to, he was like, man, he's like, this reminds me of the pool party scene in Freddy's Revenge.
Yes.
Like, so he nailed that.
Yeah. Well, because what I love about this is clearly they had a bit of a budget. Didn't have a huge amount of budget. Yeah. But all the stunts are like, these are real people wearing the old-fashioned fire gel running around, and there's a lot of people on fire in this movie. It's not a one and done trick. Like by the end of this movie, there's at least 8 or 9 people that are on fire walking around in this movie. So it's like we can't do any like intense car chases. We can't do any like incredible effect stunts, but we can set a whole lot of people on fire. So we will just keep using that effect over and over and over again. There's something strange about everything here. Like, there's a conversation earlier in the movie where one of the detectives says to the other one that, you know, this time's probably never seen a murder, which may explain why no one's acting at all like this. But at the same time, if they are so used to it as well, and it's become so blasé, it still doesn't really explain how they're behaving. And even more so on this, right? That we jump back and the detective and his partner are in the car, and they're just driving up a road and they just stop for no reason, and then they both like look at each other and they're like, "No way you got out this far," and they're like, "Nah, let's drive back." So as they're start to do what I've described as one of the worst 3-point turns I've ever seen in a car. I don't know who taught them how to drive, but this is not how you 3-point turn. And in the middle of doing this, Rawhead Rex sees them doing this 3-point turn, is mortally offended by how long it's taken. Appears at also Rawhead Rex loves appearing at the side of a window or a door. I kind of love this about him. He's always like, and they're like, oh no. And he just appears there. It rips the door clean off its hinges like as it wasn't even attached, and just grabs the detective. He's pulling him out. The detective starts screaming, no, and that is us out. At least you didn't really get Rawhead Rex in your previous segment. You got a picture of him. In this one, you got a whole lot of them.
I did. Like I said, I think I got the best 5 minutes of the movie, because not only did I get Rawhead Rex, people on fire, cops dying, people being like bit, like explosions, like the guy piecing it all together with the missing piece of glass.
Yep.
But also boobs.
You got boobs as well. This is the hard bit for me right now. Is like, with all the amazing things you've mentioned, I want to try and even remotely give the listeners a chance to think that I'm going to go highbrow with what my favourite bit in this 5 minutes are, but I'm not. The tits in this are absolutely amazing, and that is my favourite thing that happens in these 5 minutes.
I mean, I love nudity in my horror, so like boobs all the way, Duncan. But if I had to pick a second, it's gotta be. It's gotta be the fire, like the random explosion and the people running around on fire, and like Rawhead just carrying it, sounding like Bluto from Labyrinth with the head. And. You know, I think my biggest takeaway from these two segments that I got to watch, these 2 5s, in both scenes, moral of the story, you never go back.
Never go back. No, like, this is one of the few movies where like the lead characters actually make a conscious decision to leave.
And then proceed to not.
Yeah, like in every other horror movie, we moan specifically about people not leaving. Like, you know, like why would you still be in the haunted house? You know, why would you still be in this town? Why would you decide to still go into the water? You know what I mean? All these things we say. In this movie, they made the right choice. They just didn't stick the landing.
Right.
Cost them a kid.
And then the cops, like, they're like, should we go back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you go back, it's going to cost you. In both of my scenes, there was going back, and tragedy struck both times.
I think both your scenes can be summed up with fuck around and find out.
There you go. Fuck around and find out. I love that.
You are a very busy podcaster and just general awesome person. Let the people out there know where they can check out your stuff, Lacy.
Yes, Cut to the Chase feed. You can follow me at Lacy Lou 1122 or just Lacy Lou on Facebook, and be sure to check out Thrills and Chills season 5, which you can catch Duncan on. We don't know what he'll be covering just yet.
Rawhead Rex.
No.
Oh.
I'm very curious to see what the drawings tonight, but that will have already taken place by the time that this podcast gets released.
Yes, so like my episode may already be out. So like, but anyway, people should be checking out your stuff regardless. So that's how you never miss anything, Lacey, is if you check it out.
Everything, yeah.
Absolutely everything. Thank you very much for joining me. I've been telling everyone intermittently on these ones here when they've been recording our second episode, which will make no sense because the order's going to be fucked, that we are going to be back in December to do another one of these. We're doing the Silent Night, Deadly Night remake, Silent Night from 2012 in pieces. Dare I extend an invitation your way? Do you feel like you might want to come back and listen to Malcolm McDowell do terrible accents?
Fuck yeah.
That's all I needed to know. Ladies and gents, this has been your installment of Rawhead Rex in Pieces. This may be the first one you're listening to, which is utterly confusing, and maybe the last one you're listening to, so you're used to it by now. If we're somewhere in the middle, just go with the flow. This is October, so you're getting an episode of Podcast Under the Stairs every single day, so I will speak to you tomorrow.
Boobs!